Hi, Bethany here again, because I don't know what happened on the broadcast, but for some reason in the middle of it, the phone or Facebook decided to go from my horizontal to it just flipped on me. And then evidently during the broadcast, despite the fact that it went from horizontal to portrait in my view, it continued to record in horizontal, so you could see about this much. So not fantastic, but hey, it happens. So I'm posting this re-recording as a kind of a short version. If you find that one a little distracting, I do, especially when all you can see is the person's mouth moving. So no idea what happened. I touched it to wave hi to one of the viewers and then it flipped. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll figure out what not to do to prevent that. So this today on the Retrain Your Brain show, I was talking about, you know, what it takes to find your next big idea. What is it that, you know, you've got that itch, you don't know what you want to do about it, and you don't know how to find that. So I was offering up examples of ways you can find some inspiration and that possible thing that the world can use from you. We all have something to offer the world, and finding your niche and your thing can be a way of expanding that. So this will probably be different order than what I did on the video because I kind of half wing this stuff. So, so whichever version you prefer, all the same information, just might be in a different order. So one place to start looking is what's your current skill set? What do you do for work? And is there something you can do on the side with those same skills? A friend of mine, Michelle, does an accounting type job, and so she's figured out that, you know, she's always had an interest in doing kind of a mobile public notary and contract signatory service. They're both things that you're supposed to be certified to do. And some, you know, there are lots of small businesses out there that maybe they need someone like that, but can't afford to, you know, hire somebody, and who wants to constantly, you know, run out to go to a public notary service. So she's interested in building, and so she started kind of the process of getting those certifications to do a little public notary, mobile public notary thing on the side, in addition to her full-time job. You know, other people, especially being in the construction field, so many people will do, you know, management or construction management, or they could be, you know, the people actually doing the job, and then quite often they have skills that they'll get side jobs and go and do things that way. So, you know, is there something marketable just about what you do that's in demand and can be a thing? You know, for me, and being a project manager and being kind of an organizer, you know, I've figured out, I actually met a lady on Fiverr because I was editing a blog for her on you know, project management for your home renovation and how important it is. And I mentioned, you know, hey, by the way, I'm actually a construction project manager, so the subject's right up my alley. And it turns out she's trying to put a boot camp together and has invited me out to New York State to be the presenter for her boot camp, you know, because it's, you know, specifically, you know, for ladies and by ladies. You know, I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool thing. And that comes back to, you know, I'm actually doing a gig on Fiverr because I realized, you know, I've been using Fiverr to get logos made up and to get graphic design done, because that's not in my wheelhouse, and frankly, you know, it's going to take me a long time to get to a point where I could do it myself. So I've realized, wait a minute, I've always been you know, people have always told me I'm a good writer. People have come to me for editing and how to word things. Let's try it out, you know. So I made up a gig, threw it out there on Fiverr. I did no marketing, no push, no nothing. In about a month and a half of it just being up, I've made close to $800, and that's minus Fiverr's share. And so I've got my complaints about Fiverr itself, but just the experience has been quite fascinating. So that's just thinking of your skill set, you know. My mom was on the broadcast earlier, and I mentioned, I'm like, yeah, she could, you know, go onto Etsy and offer doing like custom crochet jobs, because she's quite the crochet machine. And you know, so if she wanted to, you know, and as her retirement continues on, she could totally just make a gig on Etsy, because Etsy's kind of the place for the crafty people, where you've got, again, Fiverr for, you know, editors and you know, people, you know, to make up websites and more of the human things that you need human time for, you know, graphic design, and I think they've started offering up photography services where they put you in touch with photographers, which has been more of a Thumbtack thing. Like, that's where you go to Thumbtack to find videographers and photographers and other specialty gigs of that nature. Then you've got Amazon, that's kind of your big box manufactured place to be, and then you've got eBay, which is a great place for basically like a high-end flea market, or you know swap meet, you know, where people go and find stuff at Goodwill and clean it up, or you know, make, you know, buy furniture and clean it up or redesign it and then stick that up on eBay, you know. I've got something myself that I've been slacking on getting it on eBay. As I found a collectible Coca-Cola butter dish when I was looking for butter dishes at Goodwill, because who needs to pay full price for something like a butter dish? So, you know, just thinking about these things. What are things that you do, or you know, your skill set that could translate to something more, and then that also goes into your hobbies. You know, whereas my friend Michelle is using something at her work skill set, you know, my mom with crocheting, that would be like using her hobby skill set and then getting paid to do what you like doing and already do. There was another lady here that I've interviewed. She's the owner of Hot Mess headquarters here in Seattle, and she got into her business really by fluke. She was actually, like me, came out of the construction world. She was a safety manager, and the stress in things that were going on was just too much. So she went on sabbatical and kind of called it quits to kind of reevaluate that whole thing. And a neighbor, like, she started getting into kind of taking furniture and making it kind of like antique chic sort of style, and developed her own style, you know, and then her neighbor kind of noticed, and she does her own kind of DIY home stuff, and they decided to get together and, hey, let's try and, you know, get together and sell a few pieces and, you know, maybe make a few extra bucks. Well, now that's become her whole main thing. She does so well with this custom furnitures that she also has a whole line of hats and sweatshirts and t-shirts that are you know, this Hot Mess brand, as well as some really great pro-military stuff, especially for the military that you're a parent of or you're a spouse of. And I love her stuff. So Hot Mess headquarters here in Seattle. Like I said, I'll leave some references and some shout outs to them, because she's just got some amazing things. But that became her main thing. And now what she used to do is actually just a side business where she goes and acts as kind of a safety director for another friend of hers, you know, for a couple days a week. And that's become her side business. So that kind of just, like, for her, it flipped. And now she gets to do something she really loves doing and passionate for, and her customers. She's in a couple of boutiques, including one in LA, just because her customers have gone to boutique shops and said, hey, you need to carry this stuff because it's totally in line with whatever they did. And so yeah, I mean, it can be something that's a home run like that just kind of happens. And you never know where it'll come from if you don't try. So, you know, there's so many more examples. I mean, another way is, have you fixed something for yourself? You kind of jerry-rig something together to fix an issue that you had, or a need that somebody else had, you know, and you made something to fix it. Well, look it up. See if that's something that could actually be desirable, and could you potentially, you know, get a patent for it and create it. There's people that you don't necessarily have to do a patent. Maybe it can just be unique because, you know, the manufacturers don't do it. It was an electrician who came up with a device on to hold spools of wire when you're working in a building in commercial construction, that will sit in between studs, and then they can just pull out the wire as they go and hang it up. So, you know, that was an electrician who came up with that, and I'm sure he's made buku off of that since. You know, he built it, something he was using, and realized that there was a need, and he patented it and gets it made, and now sells it. Another local entrepreneur here in Burien, he's a handyman. Literally is I hear commercials for franchising his Yellow Van Handyman franchise. And he's really good with his hands, and he realized he had a lot of people asking him for help with their washers and dryers, particularly with washers. I guess just this one stupid part would keep breaking down. But in order to fix it, the manufacturers would essentially make you buy the whole drum kit, which at that point you might as well just buy a new washer. Like that was the cost. So he actually figured out that he could get the same exact part made in China. You know, it's not a patented thing, it's just a common part. And now he actually, this is something actually he's taught his kids to do. One kid does marketing, one kid does all the shipping and making sure all the pipes are there, and another kid does like the overall books and things. And they sell kits for many different styles, or many different models of front-loading washers now. They just sell the parts, and they do YouTube videos on, so people can actually change it out themselves, or they can get a handyman to do it for them. But either way, you know, they ship these parts all over the place now. And again, they do mostly YouTube and YouTube videos and advertising for that. You know, it's a mind tweak. It's a little bit of, you know, right now, most people are focused on consuming, but they don't really think about it. You know, you're going through Facebook and you're flipping through, and you might get an idea here or there that just crops up just naturally from consuming content. But it takes a real mind shift to be a little more serious about it, and just think about, what are common complaints at work, or complaints in your social? Like, what do people wish there was a fix and haven't found one yet? Well, go online, see if you can find the fix. If you can't, can you create the fix? You know, is there enough people looking for that thing that needs your help? And I mean, it can be a physical thing, like you actually create something, or it could be something like here, where I'm creating these videos because I have encountered a need from people in my life to have help with getting these ideas in the first place, and getting out there and getting out of their own way. You know, which is the whole point of these videos, is just to kind of, you know, be a catalyst, get you going. You know, I've thought that might be a great title for a coaching business, you know, catalyst coaching. So, you know, you just gotta find your thing, find what people like and feel, you know, that you can contribute, you know, as a valuable asset to you know, society. Can be, you know, something locally, or you can take it global. The bar to entry for almost anything is so low nowadays. I mean, you can find almost everything free on the internet. I'm going to have these videos up on YouTube soon, but YouTube is a huge, just vast, unending, you know, thing of just video after video after video of anything you can think of. Just about I have gone looking on YouTube for things and have not found it. So, you know, there are opportunities. Just like the Retrain Your Brain show, I did my research on the name, and I figured out that pretty much anything that also has that title is specific to, tends to be specific to depression and anxiety. So I knew that this title could be valid for my goal, because I got it, a different perspective. I'm trying to use this as more of a, how to in general to get past yourself. And with a small tendency to be more of how to get out of your own way in order to make more money. I've got some more stuff coming up soon, stuff for the mind and stuff for your fitness, and some other ideas coming up, and some people who are going to help me with that. The interviews are coming. But it's looking at things that way, just kind of like, every time you think of a complaint in your head, it's then being able to, make that click, that switch of, ooh, I just complained about that. Is that something that's already been solved, or can I solve it? Is it something that's a common complaint? Is there attention on this complaint? Go where the attention is. I don't really often recommend people to follow their passion too much. It's nice to have a passion for something, but sometimes you've got to go find out what you're good at, and then develop a passion for doing that work. And I got this idea from Micro, who I love his just internet shutdowns of just people being unreasonable. And but one of his things that's part of the Micro works and part of his experience, I actually got to see him live here in Seattle a couple years ago, and he talked about this, where he came from a family that was very hands-on, very construction, and worked with tools, and he also kind of wanted to follow in the footsteps of his family, and also kind of get into this. And he just figured out he had no skill with tools. He tried, and he just couldn't get it. Just did not have the know-how and just the skill to do it. He ended up in TV. He figured out that where he could go, what he could go and do is take this passion for the hardworking person, and he translated that down the line to the Dirty Jobs show, where he went and highlighted other people who had the skill set as well as the actual talent to do what they do. And they talk about, who wants to go and work at, smelly, dirty things. And the biggest difference of these people were that it wasn't necessarily maybe didn't even start with a passion for what they did, but they saw that there was a need for what they do, and they could pour their passion into solving that need for other people. So it just becomes about the work and having a passion for your quality of work, no matter what you're doing. I mentioned in the video online, there's the MLMs. You can, if you're unsure about what you want to do, but maybe there's an MLM that have sparked your business. What's great about those guys is, they create all the marketing for you. They have the plan. They'll create, a lot of times they hand you a pre-built website. A lot of that stuff is just handed to you, and you just get to take off and go and do it. And so, maybe you didn't have a passion for something before, but you realized, you know what? That's something I could pour myself into that kind of work. I don't actually believe in work that's beneath me. I've been to interviews where they're like, you were overeducated for this job, and overqualified. Is that going to bother you? And I tell them, no. All I care is that I'm properly compensated, and I will give you the quality of work that I will be proud of. No work is beneath me. Just look for proper compensation, and then you can pour yourself into just having a passion of producing good quality work for what people are paying you to do. So if you have something you're passionate about and can get paid for it and do it, go for it. But if you're unsure, maybe you just need to get your feet wet somewhere else, and then just pour yourself into it, and just kind of make make it work and see if it's a fit. You know, if you can get excited for the work, even if it really wasn't an original, you know, an original thing. Like, I really like to draw and do painting and all that, but I do not have the skill to actually be a painter and make a living out of it. But you know what I do? I can edit papers like no one else. And so, you know, I figured that out and put it up on Fiverr. So, you know, so it comes to, you know, main points. Look at your hobbies. Can you monetize those? Look at your skill set for your work. Is there something you can monetize there, you know, for after work? Have you solved a problem for yourself or for someone else, or something that you can, you know, again, monetize, and even better, can you patent it? That's like the ultimate goal for the big ideas, is something you can patent, but otherwise it's something that doesn't need to be patented, but you can, you know, fill a gap. You know, and just kind of thinking about, you know, what is it that you like to do? What do you already spend time do? I mean, YouTube is just like creating videos of something you already do. What do you like to do? Solve puzzles? Film it, speed it up, and, you know, and put like a how-to, you know, what's my way of solving puzzles, you know, what do I do when I've got a really hard one where it's like all one color, or, you know, where do you start? You know, could it be, you know, you go hiking a lot and you see some cool stuff, you know, you can take video throughout your hike. There's actually some awesome free video editing software that I've found, and I've found places where I can learn how to use it, and go from there and just make videos, you know. Just go and see where's the attention. What are channels that are doing really well? Is, you know, could that be something? You know, it's a lot. It takes research and it takes some soul searching, but it's out there. Everyone has their thing that they can offer the world. So, slightly different take and a slightly different, little more message than my video on that I already did live. That one kind of, like I said, got derailed a little bit with technical issues. So hopefully this one you find just as helpful, if not a little bit more so. And what I also mentioned is, you know, keep a lookout. I'll be sending out invites to the Retrain Your Brain group. So eventually, as I move this from broadcasting here on my personal page to moving it to the group page, that way you'll still be in touch, and I'll be sharing that and trying to gain an audience there, because it's just more public. It goes a little farther. I always put my videos down as public as anyone can see it. But I think with groups, it even gets a little more visibility from there as well. So keep an eye out for that. I'm also at author Bethany Carter here on Facebook, and the sidehustlebook.com for the book that I'm doing. And yeah, I'm putting myself out there, man. Seeing where this takes me. I do have goals. I do have a where I want this to take me. But I found, considering how my life has gone the last couple of years, you know, I'm gonna kind of take everything with a grain of salt and watch for those opportunities as they come by. So I hope you found this show helpful, and sometime soon I'll be getting, like I said, getting more interviews going, and next week we'll still getting into a little more of the practical how-tos. I'm gonna look at things, you know, places again where you can go and get ideas and meet people and get yourself out there in order to invite things into your life, which that can potentially help your journey to financial freedom, or, you know, or whatever your goal is. Right now, like I said, I'm kind of focusing on financial freedom at the moment. But specifically, you know, looking into things, you know, how to find an audience, you know, how to find your people, how to find your tribe, as I've been saying, and just beginning that hustle to get where you want to be. So stay tuned. Join me next week, and hopefully you found this video a little more helpful and less distracting with my technical difficulties. Talk to you all soon. Bye.